Okay, here's a little walkthrough of my urban permaculture food forest. I guess that's what we'll call it. It's not a very big patch of land. I started this about last September or so. Not that big. I started by marking a contour line up here, and then I paced out 4 or 5 paces down and decided that would be the boundaries. I do have quite a bit more space to work with, but I thought I'd limit myself. And what I ended up doing was digging a little trench down on contour, filling that with wood, and then covering that with some topsoil to kind of make a hugel, I guess a hugel culture on contour. It's a little bit more effective than it needs to be. We get plenty of rain, and when we get any rain at all, it really does pool up here at the edge, which it's supposed to do. So hopefully it is hydrating all the soil down slope also. Now, just to hold some things, last fall I planted some different lettuces and brassicas along the ridge, and some of those came back volunteer this spring. I put in some strawberries. We've got Ozark Beauty to the left and Tribute to the right. So you can see, oh, there is an Ozark Beauty right there. That's the first one that's turned red so far. There's another one down there. I've been told to pinch them back quite a bit, and I have been, but they just produce so fast I can't keep them pinched off. Here are the Tributes. We've already been eating off of these. Still have a couple. I mean, every day I come out, there's 1 or 2 ready to go. So that's the water harvesting hugel mound at the lead edge, the upward edge of my slope. You'll see I've also constructed a trellis here. That is for my muscadines. Got a muscadine there that is starting to train up its pole. It will be trained onto one wire. Here's another muscadine that will be trained onto the other wire. I'm quite sure I have plenty of muscadine. In fact, I will probably have to take some out once it all gets established. I've got 4 muscadines in the space of about a 45-foot run. Less than that, 28-foot run. So plenty of muscadines. They're coming up. The main bones that I put in last fall, I put in 2 apple trees real close together, 2 more apple trees real close together, and this large Asian pear tree. And on the Asian pear, I have grafted some other varieties on. I think I've got 2, maybe 3 grafts that are going to take. This graft here still feels pretty healthy. This graft feels pretty good here. And there's another graft on the other side. This graft down here I don't think made it. But this being the first year this is in, it was absolutely covered in blossoms and absolutely covered in apples. I pinched off probably 90 to 100 apples, and there's Asian pears, and there's still quite a few on there. I might need to go back in and pinch off some more. I will probably cut the top off of this sometime soon to keep it at a manageable size. And then the last tree I put in last fall was this paw-paw tree that seems to be doing well. It gets plenty of sun here. Last fall I also buried my comfrey crowns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the space. That may be overkill, but I didn't know what they would do when I put them in. A little bit of cheat. I put a couple bags of topsoil and just slit the tops off of them and covered them with mulch for some annuals. Here, I'll pull back some of the mulch and you may can see there's the edge of the bag there. So I just planted directly in them. At the end of the season, we'll rip that up and just leave the topsoil there. I've got some tomatoes and ground cherries that will need to be moved because they're much bigger than I thought they were going to be. Some peppers. Also have some pole beans that I thought I would use to trellis up until the time that the muscadines are taking that over. So the pole beans are there for some nitrogen. That's a little gooseberry plant there. There's 3 planted on the side there where the flags are. They're just kind of nursing there, and I'll move them into an appropriate location later on. I've also got some zucchini, butternut, there's another butternut, lemon squash right there. Another butternut. I love butternut. The table queen, that's kind of an acorn style squash. There on the back side of the slope, my idea was that they would kind of use this slope as their own hill. And also along the front edge, got some primocane raspberries. This himbo top did not sprout. I'm going to see if I can't get a replacement for that. More primocane raspberries. That one's really done well. And some primocane blackberries. There, 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 and there. So what I'm going to do next, you see I got a great big pile of mulch. I'm kind of turning over some of the sod face down. I'm going to cut the grass and put the clippings on it, and then I got a whole bunch of cardboard, and I'm going to sheet mulch some major spaces, sheet mulch it over, and I've got a bunch of herbs, medicinal herbs that are sprouting. We're going to find homes for them. I think I'll probably try to put some direct seed, some chamomile in there. We've got some echinacea that's sprouting. I'm probably going to put it there. And we're just going to pepper this place with some different medicinal herbs. And then I'll need to find some kind of maybe ground cover. But that's it so far. Mistakes. Well, mistake number 1, it's not really a mistake, it's a limit of my place. This is a northern facing slope. So we're facing north now. So I kind of wonder if I don't have my raspberries on the wrong side of my trees. If they need to be on the leading sun edge of the trees, they'll probably do okay since I'm going to be controlling the size of these trees. So they'll probably do okay. The other mistake is I planned this in September and I did not adequately research where the solar aspect would be in the earlier months of spring. And so there is a lot, and I mean a lot of shade on this in the early months of spring. If I'd had it to do it again, I would probably move this whole thing down almost so that the leading edge becomes what is now the trailing edge on the slope. At least 10 feet, maybe 15 feet. I mean, it was close, but it's definitely a problem. So this is what has been done in about 6 months, and I'm pretty pleased with it. Let me know what you think. Bye-bye. In the backyard now. I put in 2 big raised beds early spring. This one's pretty deep, and it's also got a wood pile underneath, so it's sort of a hugel bed. It's deeper for more root type things like carrots, eventually turnips maybe, and some, of course, tomatoes and peppers and beets and onions and cucumber and melon Here, this is mostly my brassicas. Doesn't get quite enough sun here. They're not doing as well as I would want. There's some broccoli. It's getting ready to flower out, actually. So, I'm gonna have to find some shade hardier greens, maybe some chard, or turn this into a more shady loving herb plot. Also had some very weird cup funguses come up in this. I've just let them go mostly. I don't think they're much of a danger. Again, you can see the difference. These beets were put in at the same time as these beets. And the only significant difference I can come up with is the amount of sun that these get. And we're talking about 1, 2.5 paces difference. This is 10-foot difference. And it's just that much shade. You can see my backyard surrounded by tall trees. This is a salad bowl garden. This is a polyculture that I took from Gaia's Garden, Yanto Evans. And I had a problem with the dog, so there's a hole there and a hole there. It's got radishes and all manner of baby lettuces that'll be growing up, and we'll be taking out whole, and I'll probably be replacing them with some culinary herbs instead of the bush beans that the Evans polyculture calls for. And we've studded this stump with oyster mushroom spore. We had a big flush of them last November. They have not flushed since, but I'm imagining there's going to be another 4 or 5, hopefully more flushes of mushrooms off of this willow stump. Back here I've got some blueberries. Again, my concern back here is they just get very little sun. They're doing okay. They have put on a few berries. They had more berries on them last fall when I put them in, and that's because they were growing in the nursery at that time, and I'm sure they just got plenty of sun. If I'm going to do anything about it, I may not. I may just chalk it up to stupidity at this time. If I do decide to do anything about it, I will more than likely move them over here, where we've got some volunteer wild blackberries that are really thriving. So we'll go ahead and let the blackberries have it this season, and then if I decide to move them, I just move 1, 2, 3, maybe put the 4th over there. But you can see these get good sun, and then they're shaded from the evening sun pretty well. And those blueberries over there just get hardly any sun at all. There's really not much I can do about it. I mean, taking out any of those trees is a multi-$1,000 project in our area, and I just don't see the point in it for some blueberries. And that's a new project. I built that this spring too. And coming soon to a brand new garden shed near you will be an attached chicken coop. And we'll start putting some protein on our table from our very own backyard. That's it for now.